Greetings. This is Justin Allen with the Elite Nurse Practitioner. Welcome to the Elite Nurse Practitioner Show, podcast dedicated to nurse practitioner entrepreneurism and achieving financial freedom, where I talk directly with nurse practitioners who need help. Listen up, our market is saturated. Jobs can be scarce. We are underpaid. We are undervalued. We are taken advantage of by the sharks within the healthcare system, and frankly, screw that. Sick of it, and it's time for a change. And listen, I'm here to help make that happen. We are powerful. We can forge a path where we are in control of our career and ultimately our financial and personal well-being. You do not need to submit to healthcare administrators and your doctor overlords. You do not have to take a measly salary. You do not have to work 50 to 60 hours a week. There is a different way, and I'm here to show you that path. This podcast is raw and unfiltered. I have not talked to the nurse practitioners in this podcast prior to the call outside of an email exchange to schedule the episode. What you're about to listen to is a consultation session between a nurse practitioner and myself. It is real, it is unscripted, it is unplanned, and I have no idea what we're going to talk about. Anything and everything can happen during our conversation. The nurse practitioners in these episodes are struggling with an issue in their professional or financial life, and they have reached out to me for help. My goal is to help the nurse practitioner with actionable advice that will enhance and improve their professional, business, and financial life. My other goal is to hopefully help my nurse practitioner sisters and brothers build a more productive, powerful, and free life. So I hope the content and information within these podcast episodes does just that. All right, onto the episode. Hello, everyone. Today we will be talking to Kelly, who is an adult nurse practitioner practicing out of Indiana. Currently, she is working critical care as a nurse practitioner, and before that, she was doing cardiothoracic surgery. She is in the process of wanting to start a functional medicine practice where she will also offer hormone replacement therapy, peptides, and weight loss. She's also wanting to expand to aesthetics so she can have a comprehensive wellness practice. She's needing validation that her plan is a good one, assistance with pricing her services, how much this will be to start up, and how to build a profitable practice. Hey, Kelly, how are you?
Hey, just fine. Thanks.
Glad that you hopped on here. I really appreciate your time. You are in Switzerland right now?
I am.
Okay. Well, before we get started, tell us why you're there.
Yeah. So my husband is a professor, a chemistry professor. And so he's on sabbatical and he's a guest professor here in Zurich. And so we're here with our 3 kids and we've been here since the end of December.
Okay, cool. So you're on about month 6. How long are you staying there for?
Yeah, just till June. And then we go home.
June. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So we're recording this in May. So you got about another month. Yeah.
Yeah, 39 days, according to my kids.
Okay. So I'm sure you probably enjoyed the time off. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been eye-opening and hard at times, but such a gift to be here.
Oh, I bet. Cool. All right. Well, let's jump into this. So bring us up to speed. How long you been a nurse practitioner for? What you've been doing? That sort of thing.
Yeah, so I've been an NP for almost 15 years. Majority of that time has been cardiology, cardiothoracic surgery. I'm moving into critical care, but yeah, mainly in the hospital. I've done some inpatient, outpatient work, but that's where I'm at. And then, a few years ago, I just kind of started exploring functional medicine and started taking some courses and things like that. And as I transition, I think in the next phase of my career, that's where I want to move to. So,
okay, cool. So when you get back from Switzerland, you're going back into the critical care then?
yeah. So I'll work critical care. I work at night. And so when I go back home, I'll work 5 nights on and then I have 16 nights off. So,
so you have basically plenty of time to dedicate to a little side business.
yeah, I have tons of time. Our youngest is going to kindergarten in August. And so, so I think it's a great time to start something like this.
No, I completely agree with you. Yeah. Okay. I guess tell me a little bit about what you want to do. I know you just said functional medicine, but I guess maybe be a little bit more specific on maybe what you want to focus on.
Yeah. So after finding your site, I discovered that I needed a niche. And so I want to do hormones and peptides and weight loss. And then also offer like some aesthetics, like just Botox and then maybe some micro needling. But just more of, I guess, kind of like a wellness practice in some senses. But I live in a part of Indiana where it just seems like there's a big need. Like right now, there's a 6-month wait for all the functional med practices that are in our area. And there's not actually one right. There's not one right in our town. Like the nearest is like just the next town over, but it's really up and coming in our area. And, you see a lot of women post about it on Facebook and, just that they need, help with XYZ. So I think I'm just at that perfect time to do something like this.
Yeah, no, it definitely sounds like a good opportunity, especially if you have really no competition or anything. Do you have competition at all in your town, your little local area for, wellness stuff too, like the hormone replacement therapy and weight loss?
So not in our town. But I'm in
Okay.
a suburb of Indianapolis. And so there are lots of suburbs of Indianapolis, right? But like right in my little town, there is, I think, one office that's doing hormones, but they also do like a lot of like other aesthetic stuff and like liposuction things in the office, that kind of, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that type of place, and
Right.
yeah, so it's different.
Okay, gotcha. So really not a whole lot of competition. How big is the little suburb town that you live in? Do you have any idea?
Oh gosh, I would if I was looking at my business plan.
Sure.
I don't know, maybe like 10 to 15,000 people, something like
Sure.
that.
But you live in the suburbs though. So I mean, there's just town after town after town that are
Yeah,
connected. So like you have,
it yeah, it is. And like
yeah,
it's an affluent area, I mean,
yeah.
people a cash pay business, I don't think people will bat an eye about. I
Okay.
think that that's something good to
Yeah.
consider.
Yeah. So basically you have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people within an hour drive.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. Okay. So you have plenty of patients. Remember, you only need 100 patients to have a profitable practice. Like you don't
Okay.
need that many, right? Like
Right.
a lot of people get hung up on this idea that they need thousands and thousands of
No.
patients, and you
No.
don't. All you need is 100. Like,
Yeah.
you got a
Yes.
profitable cash practice. Yeah.
Yeah, running the numbers, that's what I think too. So it's good to hear you say that.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, seriously, 100 patient, you should be profiting close to 10,000 a month off that. Really, cash
Okay.
based. Yeah, so you should do very well. You got a lot of people in your area, so I wouldn't worry about
Mhm.
that. You don't really have a whole lot of competition in your little town, your little suburb. Even better, because some people might be driving 30, 45 minutes, maybe even an hour away for some of these services when they can just go 5 minutes down the road. So you will see patients doing that. They'll just start going to you just out of the convenience of it. So
Okay.
yeah. Walk me through the plan. I guess you created a business plan of some sort. So just give me a brief, just kind of rundown. We don't need, super specifics here.
So I've created a plan. So just in the sense also of running the financials. And I went through like the list of vendors that you suggested and some other things. But I think it will cost like around I think I could definitely do this for under 15,000. I think
Okay.
closer to 10 or 12,000 to start off with. And I have a friend who is an interior designer and she has an office space that she rarely uses. And so I'm thinking that I can she suggested that I rent her space from her so that I can keep costs super low in the beginning. So I'm thinking about renting space from her to have an office set up. And then I would like to do both, offer telemedicine services, but then also, have an office space. I don't need a lot for my wellness. I want to purchase an in-body scanner. That's kind of like the one piece of equipment I want to buy. I don't know. What else should I talk about? I'm not sure.
Well, you don't need that piece of equipment right at the start. Okay. So don't,
Okay. Good.
yeah, like that's
Thanks
not
for saying that.
necessary. Yeah. Like it's a great additional service, for a wellness weight loss practice. I mean, don't get me wrong. It is, you could charge extra for it and whatnot, but that's not the majority of your income. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. I don't really think it's necessary right from the get go. It might save you a little bit of money. Yeah.
Okay.
So I would say probably forego that right now. So people might disagree with
Okay.
me on that, but I just don't,
Okay.
I don't see it being a huge moneymaker right now. So if you're not going to buy that, what's that $12,000 startup go
So
back down
that
to?
would bring it down to, let's see here, like that would bring it down to maybe like 11, and that's
So it's about
including,
$1,000.
yeah. So that's including, in Indiana, I obviously have to have a collaborative and I know lots of physicians, but I contacted the Guardian Medical that you suggested and I was
Yep.
really impressed. Like their quote was $750 a month if I pay it all up front. So like $9,000 for the year. And I just thought that was a good price. I don't
That's
have to
not that bad.
no,
No.
it's the cost of doing business. I don't have to wheel and deal and like be
Right.
uncomfortable asking people that I know.
Right.
I don't want any
Right.
of that.
Sure,
So,
sure. And they cover their own malpractice and everything
Great.
too. Like you don't
Yes.
have to worry about
Yes.
it. Yeah. For
There
anyone
were,
listening,
yeah.
she's talking about the Elite NP collaborator network that we have on the main website. So if anyone needs one, just go to that. Just go to our website and click on practice services, drop down, and you'll see the collaboration network. Just click that, make an appointment. They're super, super easy, super chill.
Yeah, they were really nice. And then there were no legal fees. So that was,
Right.
so the
Right.
collaborative is the most expensive business cost. And then deciding on an EMR was the next. And then my rent,
what EMR
but
you
then
get? That shouldn't be that much.
Okay, so let's talk about this. So I had originally looked at Serbo, but then I had looked at Charm. But today I created a new account with Simple Practice just to see how it works. I have been messing with it.
Super easy EMR. Yeah, I mean, it's really all you need for a little cash practice. Simple Practice is good. Simple Practice is good. OptiMantra is another good one that I like.
I emailed them and they emailed me like a code to get sandbox privileges and like check it out. So they're on my list because I liked their lab collaborative or lab integrations like for functional medicine. I thought were good.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit more of a robust EMR compared to Simple Practice. I'll be honest with you. If I was to start over completely, I would probably start with OptiMantra.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, just because there's just so many more integrations and so many more functions in it compared to Simple Practice.
Okay.
Like Simple Practice doesn't have an e-prescribe feature. And so that kind of gets really annoying sometimes. So if I would start all over, I would go with OptiMantra. It's about the same price. Okay. So,
all right, good to know.
What other big expenses that you have here?
If I like calculated my yearly rent, my friend, I'm going to pay her like a little less than $500 a month. And so that's, we'll say like, I don't know, $5,000 for the year. That's really it. And then so the other, so then the other thing is just the education piece. And so I've been waiting until our discussion to like see what I should sign up for. I had held off on doing this for a while because I was like taking functional med courses and was like, oh, I need to get certified before I start this. But then I found your page and I was like, no, I can do this right now. Like I can start.
You don't need a certification. No one cares. You know, some malpractice companies might want to see a certificate of completion.
Right. Yeah.
But outside of that, an actual certification is not necessary. I don't understand why people get so hung up on that. You don't need it.
You're right. And I think I got hung up on it though, from working in the hospital and being so diligent about how I practice in the hospital that I just felt like I needed that, if that makes sense.
Sure.
But yeah, so education and then my malpractice is super reasonable. I think it was like $1,800 and that includes my malpractice along with my business insurance.
Ooh, you got a good price. Who'd you go for?
Yeah, CM&F.
You got an occurrence-based policy, right?
I did. So I got an occurrence-based. Yeah.
Wow, I'm surprised you got that low of a quote. I mean, most of the time for an occurrence-based policy like that, it's typically $4,000 or so.
Right.
I guess.
The vendor that you suggested on your vendor site, that's about the quote that they gave me. They was like $4,000. But then somebody, a physician in town who has like a pediatric cash-based practice, she recommended this group. And so I reached out to them for a quote.
So just FYI, just keep this in mind, okay? CM&F, they really aren't very specific on their policies, okay? So it's just basically just general. If it's in your scope of practice, you're kind of a covered thing, okay? So there's really no specifics there. It's not outlined, what services you're offering and whatnot. And so there's two trains of thought here that if the malpractice policy just states that if it's within your scope that you're covered, then in theory, you should be fine. Now, if you were sued, and let's say you had CM&F group and, you're just based off of just your scope. If you were sued for something and some smart ass lawyer decided to try to prove that maybe it wasn't within your scope of what you did, then the policy would be thrown out and you'd honestly be up shit creek. So and so that's kind of one theory behind it. That's one way to look at it. And then the other way to look at it is if you had a policy that outlines every single service that you're doing and it's written in the policy, then if you were sued, the malpractice company would be 100% obligated to cover you. That makes sense?
It does 100% because that's what I found. Like when I asked some questions about like, if I decide to do toxins, does your policy cover this? Some questions that I asked about that. So,
and it's always just our generic response. If it's within your scope, you'll be covered. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so you're like, oh, okay, that doesn't really help me out here. But the thing with Wellness Medical Protection Group, though, the reason why I have them on my vendor list is that they will write a policy outlining what it is you are doing. So that's why it's going to be a little bit more expensive. So it ultimately just depends on how paranoid you are. So I think you're probably going to be fine with CMNF group. I mean, what you're doing is within your scope. So I don't
Yeah,
think I
I
would
don't
lose a whole lot of
feel
sleep over it.
yeah, no, I mean, the way I
Yeah.
practice, yeah, I would feel comfortable with that. Now, if I decided to go an aesthetic route and do some more advanced things, then I think that I would have some hesitancy about that, I guess. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. If you start doing
mhm.
some aesthetic stuff, you really need a policy written for it. Okay.
Okay.
And then if you also start doing some more alternative things in nature, PRP,
Okay.
stem
Right.
cells, stuff like that, you're going to definitely want it written in your policy. But I think just weight loss and hormone replacement therapy and
Mhm.
just basic stuff like that, that falls within the scope of a nurse practitioner. I mean, it's not that
Okay.
hard. All right. Anyways, I think $10,000 or so. I mean, I don't even think it'll cost you that much, honestly. I'm curious here. You're telling me that you're wanting to, go into your friend's space. Is this
Yeah.
just out of convenience or what?
No, it's an office complex that they rent out. It's like a building, I guess. And so they have office suites that they rent out to people. And so my friend has a spot in there. And so she has a really great spot, number one. But then number two, she's not using it. And so I had reached out to this office complex about renting an office from them. And so I mentioned that to her. And then she came back and like said, about using her space because it's just, she doesn't even really use it. You know what I mean? Like, and it's really nice. And I think it would be fine, but I'm curious to
Sure.
see what you think about that.
Yeah. So, okay. So, what's she doing exactly in there?
Yeah. So she's an interior designer. So all she has in there is like, she has really nice cabinets that I could store things in. And then she has like a desk and like a
So,
really nice chair. So
how often is she in there?
she's in there less than 5 hours a week.
Oh, okay. And how big is this?
Maybe like 700 square feet. I think the room, well, maybe the room is
That's
like,
pretty big.
yeah, so maybe 500 square feet. Yeah, maybe
Okay.
that.
Is it just one open room or
It's
is it, what is
just
it, or is it broken
one
up?
open space. Yeah. So there are in this building, there are like 10 salons. So then they have like a waiting room
I
downstairs and like
see.
a
Right.
place like for people to get
Yeah.
coffee and wait. So I
Right. Right.
think I
Right.
could utilize it. And they also have some conference rooms that you can use and things like that.
Okay.
So
Can you put an exam table in there? Is she okay with that?
I don't think I can put an exam table, but I don't know if I need an exam table. Like I'm going back and forth
Well,
about this. Like, do you think I need an exam table?
I mean, it kind of makes a practice more, a little bit more of a practice. Like, do you need it? Not really. I mean, like my men's health clinic, I use it during the initial evaluation with the patient
Hmm.
to do an
Right.
exam. And then that's pretty much it because it's laboratory based medicine, right?
Yeah.
I think it'll work, but if you can find something of your own, I really
Okay.
recommend maybe looking elsewhere if you can.
Okay.
These shared office spaces, now listen, don't get me wrong. These shared office
Mhm.
spaces, you can do well in them. I know an MP that is in a shared office space kind of situation like that in a building. And I mean, he's
Mhm.
killing it, $100,000 a month kind of stuff in revenue.
Well,
So
I think that it would be like really great if I could be in that building because of all the different other services that are there. I think it would be free marketing, but
sure.
maybe I could look at finding my own space though. I could look at that and
Yeah.
see. Okay.
If you can. It's going to cost a little bit more, but it'll
Uh-huh.
be your space,
Mhm.
especially if it's something that's a little bit more freestanding and you have some signage on a road. Signage on a road is going to be far more effective than I think traffic that you'll get in a shared office space.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe just keep an eye out for it. Rental prices right now are ridiculous.
Yeah, and they're crazy where I'm at. Like it's just the town. I mean, it's crazy. What do you think about if I had my own space in this building, and then as I grew, then I started looking for something on a
Yes.
road with something like
100%.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, for sure, for sure. So when I started
Okay.
my men's health clinic, it was kind of in a hole in the wall, kind of dumpy little place. And then after about a
Okay.
year and a half, we
Hmm.
upgraded. So you could definitely do that. I think it would be fine at the start. And then within a
Okay.
year or so, let's say you're generating $30,000, $40,000 a month in revenue or whatever, then you would gain that confidence to say, okay,
Sure.
I can go get something for $2,500 a month now. I feel confident I
Right.
can cover that. I think that's reasonable. No, I mean, all that sounds pretty good. It sounds like you put a lot of thought into this. In terms of the additional education you were wanting to know about, so you want to do hormone replacement therapy and weight loss in this, right?
Yeah. So I was going to purchase the bundle, like a bundle from you. So weight loss and then hormones. And I was going to do both the women's and the men's
Yeah.
because I think my idea will be that, more women initially will come to me, but then they'll tell their husbands. But I also have a big connection with our CrossFit community in our town, and then as well as some personal trainers. And so I want them to send referrals like they're men to me. So I think I was going to do the weight loss and then both the women's and the men's. And then I was going to do your peptide course. And then I was going to take the Botox. And then I was going to sign up for her hands-on class as well. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so I think that's pretty reasonable. Now, with a wellness kind of practice, the reason why we developed the pellet course was because just a lot of people, I guess just getting emails all the time, do you have a course about pellets? I mean, your hormone replacement therapy courses were great, but I do have patients who do want pellets. So
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because pellets were on my list. I just don't think I mentioned it. I almost feel like I had 6 classes. Yeah, men's, pellets was making my 6th class because then it was
okay, gotcha. Yeah,
because I feel like pellets are huge in our.
Oh, it is. It's a good option, no doubt about it. Now, a lot of clinics fall into this trap of only doing pellets, and I think don't do that. It's a disservice to patients. Some patients
100%.
don't want pellets. Yeah. Some patients aren't good candidates for pellets, offering injections, creams, troches, and pellets, like giving patients options, basically, most men don't want pellets. They want injections. Like men just like injecting themselves. They just do.
Yeah. I would never get a pellet. Like I don't think I would do pellets. Like I just don't.
No, I wouldn't.
As a patient, I would never do pellets.
I wouldn't either. I don't want them in me. I don't want them.
No.
Yeah.
I agree.
But men like control. They don't have control with pellets. They have control with injections.
Hey, so interesting. Okay.
Yeah. It seems like it's more women who want the pellets just for most of the convenience and whatnot. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a great bundle. I think that's pretty much everything you really need to know, business and clinical. You should walk away with that knowing exactly what to do. So my suggestion for you would be is to take those courses and begin, just taking lots and lots of notes, then just pull the trigger, get the website built before you even open. You want that website up.
Okay. Yeah. And I've created a site right now. And so I think that I understand what it needs to be like too, after like doing some research and like reading other things. So, okay. Good to know about the website.
Yeah. The website, don't be confusing. A lot of these little wellness practice, niche practice websites, they're confusing because, you're offering multiple services. So the homepage needs to be straight to the point. We are a functional medicine wellness practice focused on, treating the whole person, blah, 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 blah. It's very, very simple, one paragraph kind of a thing, services offered, and then they can click on the services to learn more. Like keep it as simple as possible. And then, it's like an introduction of who you are and that kind of stuff. Maybe like a little down at the bottom of the picture of yourself or whatever. Okay. No, I think it's a pretty reasonable plan. I think you're totally on top of this. I'm validating you. Yes, I think you're good to go.
I'm going to put my husband on the phone. Just a minute, please.
Is he not, is he kind of hesitant about it?
Just the cost standpoint, right? But I mean, our situation is very different. We're living in Switzerland and, and I'm not working. It's just different right now.
Tell him a $10,000 investment is not that much money. Like when you look at the upside of this $10,000 investment is going to, 100x. It's going to just exponentially increase your wealth. Like nothing else you can invest $10,000 in and get the return you can with a business. Yeah. Nothing.
No, I think, my dad is an entrepreneur. So, but I've seen that, but I think I really truly believe and I also feel like I'm a great billboard. Like I truly live like what I practice what I preach, I guess. And I know a lot of people there in town. And so I think it could start off really well.
I think so.
I just want people to have good results. I really want to do a good job so people say good things and they come see me.
Yeah, I think you're fine. I think you're good to go. All right. I hope everyone's enjoying the episode so far. I just wanted to take a quick break to thank everyone listening and also give a big thank you to all of my social media followers and email subscribers. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our email list at www.elitenp.com and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Email subscribers will receive updates on new weekly podcast episodes, multiple weekly articles we publish, new courses, and everything else related to helping you succeed. Remember, all elite nurse practitioner courses are designed to help you build a niche practice, increase your financial strength, and to break free from the rat race. If I can break free and then other countless nurse practitioners can break free, then so can you. Additionally, please share this podcast with your other nurse practitioner sisters and brothers out there. The more NPs that venture out on their own, the stronger our profession will become. Now, let's get back to the episode. Now, pricing services, I know you had a question about that. Yeah.
Yes.
So what are you hung up on with that?
So a couple of things, because I guess part of me is like, I just want to offer like a consult price and, like let's say $150, gets you a consultation and then like a $75, follow-up fee. But however, I know from doing my research, memberships or packages are the best way to go. It sounds like from a profit standpoint. So that's what I'm hung up on. I'm thinking like, well, maybe I should do the consultation, get the people in the door, and then I can personalize the package, like say, okay, you fit in this category, here's your option. I'm not really sure. And I think maybe I'm struggling with this because I haven't yet taken your courses, and maybe some of that'll get filled in there and make more sense to me of how to do it once I do that.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about pricing, we talk about subscription-based pricing. I mean, that's really what we recommend in the model we present. Patients find a lot of value out of it. You can set it up on automatic payment, so they don't even think about it. It just gets debited on their credit card. And most of these people don't even think about it. Like they just see it. Okay, whatever, So it's predictable income on a monthly basis. And so like every Wednesday, our automatic payments go through my men's health practice every Wednesday. And it is like clockwork. I wake up on Wednesday morning, check my bank account, and there's a deposit of, $7,000 to $12,000.
Okay.
Automatic payments that go through. It's great.
Got it.
So it's predictable income, right? Patients like it. Like I said, it's convenient. And if you can bundle everything into that subscription, then like I said, patients just find an enormous amount of value out of it, and they don't feel like they're getting nickel and dime. And so when you are charging for visits and for services and some products, like they think that you're just trying to nickel and dime them, right?
Yeah. And I don't want it to seem like that at all. Right. And I don't think where I live, I don't think that will appeal either.
Correct.
Like I want it to seem like more high end.
Sure. So a concierge subscription-based model. I mean, it works. It works really, really well. And so, just charge a monthly fee. And I would probably have like a monthly fee for each different kind of service that you're doing. Like testosterone replacement therapy or female hormone replacement therapy. I mean, that should be pretty much the same price. Okay. And so you have to kind of just look at your costs, because remember, this is going to be your time, the supplies, injection supplies and whatnot, and then the hormones themselves. So you look at your costs on a monthly basis for this.
Yeah.
And on average, it costs you, it's like 20 or 30 bucks. It doesn't cost you that much at all. And then you price it out after that. So then you count your time for it and whatnot. And so the magic number for me in my area is about $160, $170 a month.
Okay.
And that includes everything the man needs. All right. For that, they get their testosterone, the syringes, complementary medications, the visits, everything.
Got it.
And then if they want something else, if they want a peptide or they want phentermine or, whatever, if they want an additional service line on top of it, then I have add-on prices for it. So like I wouldn't charge them the entire fee that I would charge a weight loss patient only, right? Like if the weight loss, I charge like $150 a month. You wouldn't add that. I would just add the cost of the phentermine to it because the visits are covered with the baseline subscription they have. Does that make sense?
Okay. It completely, yes.
So you have like an a la carte kind of thing for additional services on a monthly basis. So if they want to add phentermine or semaglutide or whatever, it's just additional cost. Have baseline costs for each service. So hormone replacement, I'm just throwing out random numbers. Okay. Hormone replacement therapy, $150 a month. Weight loss, $150 a month. Botox, aesthetics or whatever. Maybe that can include, however many units every 3 months on top of like a cosmetic skincare product. That's going to be $220 a month. And so you just come up with these different tiers for each service and then an a la carte thing. So if someone's getting HRT and they want aesthetics, how much is that worth to you? How much is it costing you? And then, so if you do that, you'll have a really solid profitable practice. Remember, your goal is $100 to $120 a month profit per patient.
Okay.
Not revenue, profit. And so if you do that, you get that 100 patients, you're hitting that $10,000 market profit, right?
Yes.
And then there's all the add-on services too, though, like with your men, for example, if they want Cialis or Viagra. Boom, tack on another $50 to it or whatever, so it
Yeah.
just adds up. It's great.
No, you're right. Yeah. And that's why I wanted to add like the Botox. And then I have a couple skincare lines that I'm talking with about having accounts with them because I feel like that's something easy. Like, women,
Easy.
like I want to go in and then I want to see somebody and then they can do my Botox and then we're done.
Correct. Yeah.
So,
And don't forget like prescription cosmetic skincare products either. Like they love it because it's prescription. And
oh,
so
that's a good idea.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh,
Most compounding pharmacies, you can order
okay.
so many different really cool anti-aging creams and stuff that are, compounded with prescription strength medications and stuff. They love it.
How do I learn about this? So like, how do I know that this exists? Like these compounding pharmacies, like,
It's in the
and
courses.
what they offer.
We explain the process in the courses, but you just call them up
Okay.
and they just give you a formulary. They just email you a formulary, what they got.
Now I need like your dermatology and skincare class.
You probably won't need that. Like if you're not going to really, really focus on dermatology,
Okay.
probably don't need it. Yeah. If you do want to treat some dermatological conditions, then sure. But listen, what I would do is I wouldn't bother with that course quite yet. Maybe 3 to 6 months from now, if you start seeing a lot of people with dermatology problems and whatnot, then maybe take the course. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But
Yeah.
for the cosmetic skincare, what I would recommend is you get the accounts with the compounding pharmacies. They'll give you the formulary of what products they have.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll just take a look at the ingredients and you can even just call the pharmacist and be like, what's this used for? Whatever. And then you just pick 5 or 6 of them that you like and just include it in your practice. Piece of cake.
Okay.
Those products are super safe. There's not a whole lot to worry about.
Yeah. None of this, like from a safety point, like scares me. And I guess that's maybe because what I do in the hospital, I'm fine with
Right.
it. I just want patients to have good results and be happy.
Yep.
Come see me.
Yep.
Tell their friends.
Yep. Oh no, if you do it right, they will. That's the beautiful thing about it. They feel better. They have no reason why not,
Right.
Why would they leave?
Yeah.
They're not going to. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And you see the sickest of the sick. You see people dying and whatnot. Like
I'm tired of seeing people dying, Justin.
Sure.
So.
I don't blame you. I mean, it's hard. It's hard on you. Yeah. No, this is all super low liability, very, very easy things. I mean, do you have any other questions at all?
So do you think that having somebody like yourself, like, as a consult, like to put all this together and say like, okay, like, yeah, Kelly, your pricing looks good. Or do you think that I can do this myself and then just roll with it? Like, what is the best?
Yeah, if you're going to invest in the courses and take the courses and whatnot, I really don't think you're going to need to talk to me. I really don't.
Okay.
I mean, you can always shoot me an email with just, hey, what are your thoughts on this? I have no problem, responding back to you. But like, I don't really think it's necessary, figure out what other people in your area are charging.
Yeah,
for
and
similar
I've done
things.
that. I have a whole spreadsheet of that.
Perfect.
About what they're charging, like for their toxins, and then kind of what other services. Like I'm obviously not there yet, like for hydrofacial, but like some of the other places, like what they offer and like what they're charging. So yeah, I have a whole spreadsheet. I think I understand like the cost, what other people are charging. Yeah, no, you clarified some things like with the subscriptions about kind of my thoughts there. So that's good to know.
Yeah, call like men's health clinics. Just call everywhere, weight loss clinics, whatever, just see what people are charging and then come and do an average and, there you go.
Okay. What do you think about advertisement? Like, how do you would initially like market yourself, I guess?
So getting the word out initially is probably one of the hardest things for these nurse practitioner side hustles, these niche practices. Just getting the word out initially, it's difficult. Once the word is out though, then, word of mouth spreads and then it kind of just organically works its way out. Okay. So the big thing here is, obviously you have your website, obviously you have your Google business listing. So it's just, that's the foundation of this. Like, I mean, you just have those two things. You're a fool not to. Okay. So have your Google business listing, have a good website, a solid website that looks clean, looks professional, it's easy to navigate.
Okay.
Investing some money into some search engine optimization services is usually worthwhile because especially you're in a highly, populated area. And so when anyone in the area searches, weight loss clinic or hormone replacement therapy or men's health or whatever, you're going to be lost in a sea of, multiple results coming up, right? If you dedicate the time for doing some, good solid SEO on your website, then it will pay dividends in terms of you coming up on results. And then also your Google business listing, having lots of reviews on that. So if you have a solid website, you have a Google business listing and, pay $1,000-$2,000 to someone to do some SEO for you. It should honestly be the web developer, or if you use a web developer, have them do that, and then people will just start organically finding you. Okay. A big thing with these niche service lines is that people are just they're looking for you anyways. They
Yeah.
hear about you on some podcast or YouTube video. They hear about a service, they hear about testosterone replacement therapy, or they hear about weight loss or semaglutide or whatever, and then they look for it in their area. So you need to make sure that you are easily found.
All
Okay.
right.
And so in this digital age, those three things are just critically important. Like it's honestly the foundation of your entire marketing campaign. And then you can start spreading the word in the community. So, digital advertising has a great return on investment, but traditional methods work well too. Okay. Like, yeah, they just do. I mean, I still kill it with traditional advertising methods with my men's health clinic. It still works great. Advertisements in restaurants and bars and barber shops and stuff like that, just little things. It works. Billboards work too. Having Google search ads work great as well. People look for hormone replacement therapy, in your area or whatever. And if you have a Google ad that pops up, then they see it and they'll click on your website and hopefully call you. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So you can do that. You can do social media advertising as well. Social media has a great return on investment as well. The thing about social media is you really got to dial in your target market.
Yeah.
Because when you create ads on social media, you can identify who's seeing them. So the target demographic, right? So you got to kind of nail that down. If not, you're just wasting your money.
What do you think about collaborations? Maybe collaboration's not the right word, but like networking, like using those connections that I have, with gyms or personal trainers or, salons or, how do you, offering services, trying to connect with them?
Just introduce yourself, just introduce yourself, tell them what it is that you do. And like, hey, here's my cards or whatever. I'll be more than happy to put your cards in my clinic, for example.
Sure.
Scratch my back, I scratch your back kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. And even have like personal trainers, for example. Like if you find one that you just really, really like, then, maybe put their information in your practice, like some brochures or whatever, and be like, that person is amazing. They really know what they're doing and whatnot. And then you guys are basically working collaboratively together to improve these people's health, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I definitely think that there'll be, some things for that. So, okay.
And sometimes you can find a jackpot. I like to call them local influencers.
Right.
Yeah, like local influencers. Like sometimes you can hit the jackpot, and I'll tell you, sometimes you will find someone who will refer so many patients to you. Yeah.
That's like Facebook site for the moms group of the town I live in. Like if I can get my name in there, like it'll be a jackpot. So
100%. Those Facebook groups are great places to advertise these things.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
So, all right. No, all this sounds great. So next steps. So I need to take your courses and then, so do you think timeline wise? So my goal was, middle of August that I could do this. Like, do you think that that's feasible?
Yeah. So, okay. So you're back in the country here in about 39 days, is what you said, right? Okay.
Yeah.
How are you jumping right back into work?
Yeah. So I'll have 2 weeks off and then I start back to work. Yeah.
Okay. So what I would do then is I would spend, this next month that you have and the 2 weeks, you're going to have a little bit of downtime. So my plan of attack here would be is to take the courses, lots of notes, like have everything set up, the consent forms, your EMR, like all of this back end stuff you can get set up. Okay. It just takes time. All right. So you can spend the next basically 6 to 8 weeks setting up all that stuff. And then start your job or whatever. And then you're probably going to be looking, July-ish or so. And then you could spend that month of July, on your days off, getting the clinic set up, ordering supplies, getting the website built, maybe putting some blog posts up and just fine tuning things. And then, mid-August, you could easily get this started.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like I have a lot of the back end stuff like that needs to happen. Like I set up an LLC. I talked with our bank today. I set up the business bank accounts. I opened a business credit card. Financial wise, I have all that in line for when we get back. So, okay. All right.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah. Like you have like the easy business structure stuff out of the way. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I do. So, okay.
No, you're good to go. I think you could easily get this open in August. No question about it.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So my second men's health clinic, just for an example, I already had all the back end stuff done, right? The EMR, the consent forms and all that. Cause the first men's health clinic, I already had it. So if you spend the next month and a half getting all that stuff built, okay, your EMR, the templates in the EMR, the consent forms in the EMR, all that stuff, just, building that back end stuff. Then, with my men's health clinic, my second one that I opened up, I got that thing open in I'm not joking, in like a week. Like,
Okay.
we went in, we moved all the stuff in, we opened the door, I hired someone, and like, yeah, a couple weeks later we were open. Like, I mean, it was
Ready to go.
cake.
Okay.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. You could really spend the next 6 weeks getting 80% of this done.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Good. That's
Yep.
encouraging.
You have any other questions?
Not right now.
Cool. Well, I like to end the episodes with you asking me a question. You have a question for me, a personal question about my businesses, anything like that.
How long have you been doing this for? Like how long have you been an NP? And it looked like you did urgent care. And I don't know, like, what's your story?
Yeah. Well, I've been an MP for 9 years now, 10
Okay.
years. Yeah. So yeah, approaching a decade here shortly. That's crazy to think about that. But I got started with being an urgent, working urgent care. First job was in urgent care, kind of just happened. I wasn't really expecting to work at an urgent care, but I applied to one and got hired, and kind of that was that, right? And so I worked at an urgent care for about 1.5 2 years. I worked in the ER for a little while, for about a year or two, as a nurse practitioner while working urgent care, and then urgent care again. I pretty much worked urgent care my entire career. I quit literally 3 months ago. Like, I'm just
Did
I'm
you?
done.
I was wondering because
Yeah.
It seemed like your advice was, to continue to work, obviously, right? I mean,
Correct.
that makes it like the lowest risk. I mean, for somebody
Correct.
like me, like the risk is very low because I have a great job.
Super low.
But yeah, I was wondering like if you still worked or this is what
Yeah.
you do.
So I worked full-time urgent care probably for the first about year or so of my business endeavors. So I opened up a Suboxone opioid addiction practice first, and then opened up a medical cannabis clinic. I was still working full-time then. That kind of took off. And then opened up a men's health clinic, still kind of working full-time urgent care. And then I eventually went part-time urgent care because I was making pretty good money doing medical cannabis and men's health. Suboxone, I just kind of closed down, got rid of that. And then, and then I kind of worked part-time urgent care, did my men's health clinic, medical cannabis clinic there for a little while, started a lead NP. And then, like I said, 3 months ago, I basically just gave that place the middle finger and I walked out. I was done. I'm like, why am I killing myself doing this? I'm so sick of this shit.
Well,
Like-
I hope in a few years that no more holidays and no more nights. So
Yeah. Oh no, you would be able to. There's no question about it. You'll be able to. I really think the biggest trick about it, okay, being able to transition from, full-time work to part-time work to no work at all and focusing 100% on your business. I think one of the biggest factors there is living within your means or below your means.
sure. Yeah.
Because if you don't need a lot of money, you can take more risks and you can quit quicker. You know what I mean? Like, so what's more important to you? A bunch of superficial consumer garbage or your time,
Yeah, no. Well, I've made career decisions, based on, my family, spending more time with my kids.
Right.
So
That's what matters.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, cool. Hey, listen, I appreciate your time. This was a really great episode. I hope a lot of people should walk away with a lot of really great information here. And then if you ever want to do a follow-up podcast, 6, 12 months from now, you got my email.
well, let's cross our fingers that in 6 months we're chatting and it's lovely.
And you're killing it. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That
All
would be
right. Well,
awesome.
thanks so
Hell yeah.
much.
Okay. All right. Well, I know it's late out there in Switzerland, so you have a good night.
Yeah, you too. Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care. Bye. I hope everyone enjoyed the conversation with Kelly. I think she is just going to absolutely kill it. She has everything planned out. She has a great idea. She knows what services she wants to provide. She's in an area where it's not necessarily that competitive. So I think it'll work out very, very well for her. So I think one of the big things to walk away with this is, validating your idea. So if you have a solid idea, okay, you're going to offer a niche service, you have identified your target market, you've done some market research in your area to see if there's any competition, you've done some research on pricing and whatnot, you are good to go, okay? You really don't need that much validation to start the practice. These things are a lot easier than you think. If you've been listening to these podcasts and been reading a lot of the information on Elite NP or taken my courses, you understand that. It's just not rocket science, folks. This is pretty simple. Come up with the plan. You don't necessarily need a fancy business plan unless you're going to get a loan. Okay, that's really the only time you ever need a real business plan. But just write down a plan. Write down your ideas. Write down what it is that you need. Do some market research. Take a course. Get all your forms together. Get your EMR together. Okay, get an office and go. It's really, really not that hard. These services are typically low liability and patients find a lot of value out of them. You are helping lots and lots of people. They are more than happy to pay cash for it, and it'll improve your quality of life. Trust me, I will never go back working in an insurance-based clinic ever again. I just won't, okay? So listen, you are good to go. Come up with a plan and just get started. All right, talk to you guys later. Thanks, bye. Thank you for listening to the show. Quick legal disclaimer. The content of this podcast is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be used as legal, financial, medical, regulatory, or practice-specific advice. For information pertaining to your specific legal, financial, medical, or practice-specific needs, please be sure to consult with your lawyer, CPA, medical director, and or your state's practice laws and the most up-to-date clinical guidelines. As always, do your due diligence when it comes to any information found online and in podcasts. The content in this podcast is copyrighted by Galaxy Medical Southwest 2022 and cannot be duplicated, rebroadcasted, or reproduced without our written permission.